Well, it's not just India's batting that seems to be the problem today. Some technical issues at our end also has meant that it's take three in this outside view live. We will dissect India's loss in the first ODI, 9-wicket loss thanks to a 126-run partnership between Alyssa Healy and Rachel Haynes. We talked to Soniya, Dabir, and Ananya Upendran, and we had the initial thoughts about what went wrong. But let's kind of carry on and talk about India's bowling. Ananya, let's start with you. Meghna Singh was quite impressive with the new ball. But then again, you'd mentioned it at the start of our show today that the in-swinger, there's lack of in-swinger in India's bowling lineup, and probably that came to play.
It probably did, but just to start off, I mean, Meghna Singh, that delivery to start her international career was something else. I mean, I'm not sure whether there have been any better deliveries to kick off one's career. So great way to start for her. Unfortunately, she didn't pick up a wicket. She looked quite threatening in her first few overs. But again, I think I did mention this in the squad analysis as well, that the thing about Meghna Singh is that the lack of variation is an issue. She gets the ball to swing to hoop, but she doesn't have the one that straightens. So as a batter, especially we saw with Alyssa Healy that she was moving across her stumps, and there was never a time where the ball straightened or just held its line. So I think that showed with Meghna that she went for runs after that. But it was a great way to start for her. And yes, the lack of an in-swinger, the lack of someone who, rather than an in-swinger, I think the lack of someone who was just consistently attacking the stumps was an issue. Of course, Jhulan Goswami was, bowled quite well. But again, the back of the length, Alyssa Healy, very quick off the back foot. Jhulan Goswami doesn't have the pace of a Darcy Brown to get the ball to kick and rush her for pace. So it probably showed. And hopefully that means that India maybe bring in Shikha Pandey for the next ODI. Just a way to bring in some variation, because we saw that the ball was moving away from all the bowlers.
Yeah, indeed. And Soniya, before closing off the mid-innings show, that we'd spoken about how the inexperience could come into play, because either side of Jhulan Goswami, there's Pooja Vastrakar and Meghna Singh making her debut today, there's only inexperience. So do you think it is inexperience that kind of pushed India back with the ball, or do you think the track eased up a bit? Your assessment of that?
I guess, yeah, definitely inexperience. I will definitely say that, because like Meghna Singh making her debut today, and Pooja Vastrakar has been in and out of the team, and coming after the break of the pandemic and whatever the camp they had in Bangalore, I doubt that was enough for them to just go in and start performing in the Australia series. So I think, as rightly said by Ananya, definitely they will think of getting Shikha Pandey there, because even Pooja Vastrakar is an all-rounder, and Shikha has been that all-rounder for the Indian team for a pretty long time now. And as far as batting is concerned, between both of them, as to just compare them, because so Shikha has that one variation which might have an advantage for her to get into the side for the next ODI.
Yeah, indeed. The only wicket to fall for Australia came off Poonam Yadav's leg spin, as Alyssa Healy was dismissed. Not much spin on the track as well, Ananya. We saw even the first innings, there wasn't turn, but Molyneux, Wareham could kind of have that holding role that probably didn't work for India today.
I think also it was the pace at which the spinners were bowling. So Poonam Yadav is significantly slower than the remainder of the spinners, whether it's the Indian spinners or the Australian spinners. So you actually saw the Australians kind of camping on their back foot. They made sure that they didn't come out unless they were very confident of reaching the pitch of the ball against Poonam Yadav. So I think just the way they tackled her was outstanding. They showed in 2018 that they'd kind of figured out how to play her in the one-day format, at least, because you don't have to always go at a bowler in the ODI format. You can kind of sit on her. And that's what they did. They found scoring opportunities against Poonam Yadav. But, the other Indian spinners, when there isn't that much turn, I think the issue is that we were unable to kind of build dot balls. That could do with maybe field placings, that could do with maybe understanding where the batters are looking to score. You look at someone like Rachel Haynes, whose sweep shot is she plays the sweep shot for fun. She paddles as much as she can. So you don't have a 45, you don't have a short mid wicket. There are ways to build dots, and I think sometimes the Indian spinners kind of allow the batters to milk them.
Yeah, indeed. And milk them did Alyssa Healy as well as Rachel Haynes. Let's take a look at what Haynes did first. 93 not out and just took 100 balls to score those. That's a terrific strike rate. And you always think of Alyssa Healy as the dangerous opener, Soniya. But talk about how Haynes complimented Healy at the start and then kind of owned that run chase.
Actually, that's what I said. That when Healy was going behind the bowler, Indian bowler, she was like played a wait and watch kind of a role. And when Healy was done, she started it slowly. Meanwhile, she was doing her hitting and scoring runs, but because of that Healy show, she was a bit of overshadowed. So, which she made sure that she was still there in the till the end, and made sure that everyone is aware that even she was there. That kind of role, she supported Healy brilliantly the way it has to be supported when one batter is attacking. You just keep on rotating the strike or just be there supporting that batsman, which probably the Indian batters should be doing around themselves. I feel like there are many attacking players who are in the Indian team. So if this kind of a like building partnership role, if they start playing more, we will also have similar kind of partnerships for sure.
Yeah, indeed. Alyssa Healy, 77 of 77 balls. The onslaught's not new. And for Indian fans or Indian players, it's not at all new. It might be as fresh as it happened this morning because a T20 World Cup final last year, who can forget that? But Ananya, at no point did Healy look to be in trouble, didn't it? Because we talked about how Meghna Swing got that ball moving. Julian Goswami was disciplined, but very few times that Alyssa Healy got beaten outside the off stump.
Yeah, that's true. I think in the first couple of overs, she did look a little iffy where she was hanging her bat out a little bit. But, she figured it out very quickly coming across her stumps. She literally exposed her leg stump in order to cover the swing. So I think the thing with Healy is she's now kind of thinking on her feet. She's so experienced that she knows her strengths and she knows how to access those areas. So I think that's the big difference between the Indian batters and the Australian batters, is that someone like Alyssa Healy is kind of forcing the bowlers to bowl in areas that she wants them to bowl, whereas the Indians aren't as proactive. So I think that's one of the things that hopefully India take out of this match, is just watching people like Alyssa Healy and Rachel Haynes, is one, putting away the bad ball, but also then forcing the bowlers to kind of change their plans to you. So it was an excellent knock. I think India are kind of tired of chasing the ball to the boundary against Alyssa Healy.
Yeah, indeed. Haynes and Healy added 126. This is their 850 plus stand in the last 11 innings that they've batted together. But you always sense that these two take the spotlight away, Haynes and Healy, and then there comes Meg Lanning, who loves run chases. A 53 not out for her. Her average chasing is over 67. Soniya, how do you stop someone like Meg Lanning? Because even if you get an early wicket, she's there to kind of build the innings and then take it away. And on days like today, we well saw what she could do.
More than stopping Meg Lanning, I feel we should focus on what our strength is, because it's like we do our this team or the whatever India is being planning, they are looking towards the World Cup. Definitely we cannot just sideline this Australia series, but definitely I'm sure they will have a plan. More than that, as you said, during the World Cup they were planning towards getting out Meg Lanning. I guess, if at all I'm right, Shikha Pandey was the one who got her out twice. So similar plans they will definitely be having. And as rightly said, that they should be having a plan of bowling more dot balls. I can understand these things are talked when it is T20, but definitely these bowling dot balls does help in ODIs as well, because finally you are stopping the runs. So that is what you have to do in the any format of the game, actually.
Yeah, indeed. And Ananya, we've been covering the England-New Zealand series as well. There also we see Heather Knight's calming presence, irrespective of the stage she walks in, talking about landing 950s and 900s in run chases, if I get my numbers right. So, I mean, how do you kind of deal with such players in the opposition?
again, I guess it feels like we're going to be asking these questions for all the Australian batters, whoever features in this series. Is how do you get them out? How do you stop them from scoring runs? But I think, like Soniya said, it's more about focusing on your strengths and figuring out how you want to curtail the runs. I think what was exposed through this Indian bowling innings is that the bowlers don't seem to have a set plan of what they want to do, and which makes run making much easier for the batters, especially in conditions like this where you saw there wasn't much in the surface itself. As a bowler, when you're very clear of your plans, clear of your fields, clear of where you want the batters to hit, it's easier to curtail the runs. And that's something I think India need to go back to the drawing board and kind of figure out what they want to do according to their own strengths.
Yeah, indeed. Before moving on, one last word about India's batting. Once again, Ananya, let's start with you. Mithali Raj scoring runs, yes, but probably not at a strike rate or at the speed that viewers would like, or as the plan is to score 270 odd. So would you kind of look at Mithali Raj, the enforcer, or working around the others who are not scoring runs?
Look, I think it's a two-way street. I think one, she does also have to up her rate, but that will come when she feels like there's stability around her. I think right now it's kind of a double-edged sword with her. If she gets out early, we're going to pounce on her. If she stays and score runs, we're going to pounce on her as well. So I think it has to be a two-way street. It can't just be all Mithali Raj. There have to be contributions from those around her. And we saw today that Richa Ghosh has shown the ability to play the acceleration role at the back end. So that's one box ticks. Yastika Bhatia has shown great temperament in her short innings. That's another box tick. Now it's about getting your openers to fire. We look at the likes of South Africa, England, and now Australia. We talk about Lanning and Perry and the averages they have. Why do they have those averages? Because they're not walking in at 10 for 1 or 10 for 2. They're walking in at 80 for 1 or 180 for 1. So there's a big difference in the amount of pressure that they're handling. And I think we also need to, Smriti Mandana, Shafali Verma, I know she's very young in her career, but there need to be more consistent contributions from them in order to then get the best out of the rest of the lineup.
Soniya, where do you kind of stand? Ask Mithali Raj to pace up, or you kind of work the others to get up to level first before kind of touching what's already working at this point?
Definitely, I would like to see others contributing more because, now that she's batting at number 4, ideally she is getting, I won't say less overs to bat, but definitely that kind of 2-wicket down pressure is there where she has been batting at number 3 all her life, almost all her career. So first of all, I feel that she should be batting at number 3 because now that you have seen that you have